looks like we're good to go. So what's up, guys? Welcome to season 3, the Chinese Grand Prix. I think we're in the third round of this season. Um, Current championship leaders are not racing today, but all eyes will be on Russell to take the win. Hoping Ninja can put up a fight, the McLaren boy. But Ferrari and Racing Point are Racing Point's being represented by Russell, but yeah, I guess it's going to be an interesting race up front. China usually has varying weather conditions. I'm just going to check with some of the drivers to see what kind of conditions are there for the race. But doesn't but quali looks like it's nice and sunny. Let's see what the race is like. You can see one sneaky boy coming out of the pits. I think a McLaren came out of the pits right now. So Ninja says it's dry throughout, so that's a shame. Would be nice to see some wet running. We're going to ride on board with Leo Vassia. He's on an outlap, I believe. Let me just enable the telemetry and stuff. Some of the broadcast cams are actually beautiful this year. Oh, slight mistake there, but it's fine. He's on hard tires. Probably going to take a long time to heat up. Russell's still not out of the pits. Freeman, I believe, is not going to be taking part in quali. But none of the top drivers are out right now. We're going to ride on board with Faizan, who's also on the hards. So the weather is going to be dry throughout. That's going to be a lot of overtakes down the main straight on the back straight rather, with DRS. Unfortunately, only 10 people here today, but as usual, it's not about the number of people, but about the quality of racing. I expect a good battle between Ninja, SD. Russell may be a little further ahead, but it looks like he is going to be on a 2-stop if his soft tires are fitted to his car for quali. DRS open. We're going to stay on board with Faizan for this lap. So let's see how it goes. So it's a nice narrow line through turn 1, runs wide a bit. Looks like he loses the back end slightly, but nothing too major. And into turn 4. This corner is especially annoying for me. It takes a lot of precision to get down on the power without losing the back end. Of course, a lot of the assists are enabled, but at the same time, you'd never know which drivers are using them. Okay, he makes a slight mistake through sector 2. On board. Let's look at sector 2 split 55-1. That's not such a quick time. This corner is actually probably the most important corner on the track. You need a good line. Touching the outer apex is torture. It just pulls you out wide, and your run is pretty much ruined onto the main straight. Russell's still in the pits, which is surprising. Leo was here with a 1:42.9. That's definitely a banker lap. It's not a valid lap time at all. I expect him to improve by about 10 seconds. Sneaky boy with a slightly more representative time of a 1:34.3. So across the line, sticks the curb, so running wide there will almost always give you an invalidation. Fives done with a 1:37.3, so he's probably will improve by a significant margin. These hard tires do take forever to heat up. This solo commentary thing is going to be a bit noob. Forgive the noobness of it, but I'll do my best. Let's hop on board with Ninja. He's on a flying lap. He's going to be starting a flying lap, I believe, right now. He is one of the most improved drivers this year, and I've had some great battles with him. I'm not sure if China is one of his stronger tracks, but in tracks like Monza, in tracks like I think USA and stuff, he's pretty quick. So let's see how he does in China. He was actually pretty competitive in one of our other leagues this season. So hoping to see a good performance from him. I don't want to see Russell running away with the race, but it's definitely going to be an interesting one with the strategies. Russell may be choosing to go on to the softs for the sake of competitiveness, but still, that the jury's still out on that. Russell actually has backed out from a permanent spot and moved to reserve, but he's attended every race since, so it's interesting. It's an interesting point of view for him. It's a nice line through the double left-hander. It's a little tricky on the exit. You need to sort of short shift up to fourth gear there, but he avoids the curbs and onto the main straight. He may get a bit of slipstream from the car ahead. Hopefully it gets out of his way. Okay, he's not really using the slipstream. Not really a wise choice, but don't think it's going to affect him too much. So into about 130 meters you're going to be braking and hit the inner curb. Beautiful line. He chooses to stay in second. Usually first will give you more rotation, but there's a decent run through there. Nice exit. Hit the inner apex and onto the main straight. You can actually cut that corner a bit. So a 1:33.9. So there we have it. Ninja up with a pretty good time on the board, and yeah, Russell's finally on an outlap on softs. Shit, still stuck with last year's naming conventions of the tires. I actually preferred either 2018 or before, because it's, I mean, sure, having softs, mediums and hards can be less confusing in terms of what the tires are called, but in terms of the actual compounds being used, you never know whether it's a C5, C2, C1. I believe it's a C2, C3 and C5 tire for this race. So it's not, so they do have an option to go on a very soft tire, but that only lasts for about 5 or 6 laps before they either start overheating and then wearing out pretty drastically. Let's hop on board with Real SD now, see what he's up to. Oh, he's got a 1:34.1. I completely missed that. That's not a bad time. He's within 2/10 of Ninja. Looks like he's trying to heat his tires up for a second run, probably with a significant amount of fuel on board. IRC is a bit low, so he's gonna have to make sure that he brakes a bit on the main straight to get that energy bar back up. IRC has become so important in this 2019 edition of the game. It's become almost impossible to manage. But let's hop on board with Russell. I believe he's on a flying lap. Okay then, let's see the... Oh, that's completely my bad. Russell is on the hards. I was looking at the best time, but he's on the hard tires, so it looks like he's going to be going for a soft to medium one stop. He runs a bit wide onto the AstroTurf, but you can do that without losing too much time. Up the hill. hits the apex nice. Let's see if we can keep it narrow. Uh-oh, he hits the curb, but he won't be happy with that corner for sure. He's in the racing point today, which is nice to see. I think Pink really makes his eyes pop, but okay, I don't think this is a flying lap because he is not deploying ERS at all. He's on 0. Let's just stay on board with him for this flying lap. So he's got an entire 100% bar of ERS to his disposal. I expect him to go on a flying lap right now, and let's see what he can do. DRS open and in overtake mode. So a lot of drivers do manage ERS throughout the course of a lap. So especially with the harder tires, where maybe putting ERS down to low or medium will probably give you better traction out of a tricky zone, like turn 3 or turn 4. I can never get that right, but now you can see him go right back up to 4. So he does prefer using overtake down the straights. Personally, I would use just hot lap so I can focus on the lap itself. But then he's probably got a higher intellectual capacity than I do. It's nice, slight lift through there, not completely flat out, but this year's game is very easy to lock up into that long sweeping right-hander. But either way, so far the lap looks fairly neat. He is looking to improve by he's 2.5 seconds up on his delta. So let's see if we can keep it off the curb. This time it's a pretty good line. I'm sure you would have liked to get onto the power probably about a second earlier than that, but doesn't seem too bad to begin with. So in ERS mode 4, approaching the 120 meter board and braking really hard. Yeah, he does go into first, hits the curb nice and easy. Short shifts up to third, and let's see what it is across the line. Let's see if we can keep it in the track. Oh, very conservative line through there. And that's a 133.3. That's 6/10 better than what Ninja achieved, which is on hards. That's a pretty commendable time. I'm sure that there is a little more time on the board, but I expect he's going to be pretty happy with that. SD is on. He should be on a cooldown lap now, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, he's in sector 2, but ERS mode deployment 0, so I expect that he is on a cooldown lap and probably going to pit now. The Ferrari right now is in the 135.3. Personally, I'm biased. I'm not racing today, but it would be great to see the Ferrari up there with the rest of the cars. But as long as the Mercedes doesn't win, I'm pretty happy. The championship is actually pretty close between Mercedes and Ferrari, so that's something we've got to watch out for the entirety of the season. I guess I shouldn't be missing too many races, but it's gonna be fun letting you guys know what is up with the Indian racing community. So Sparsh with the 135.2, he's actually improving pretty quickly. It looks like that lap was not an improvement. He's actually electing to qualify on the soft compound tires. It's an interesting choice for somebody who's not usually used to qualifying up front. Qualifying on the harder tires usually gives you that jump when it comes to in terms of strategy, but I guess each to his own. Interesting to see so none of the top drivers have actually put laps in on the mediums just yet. I'm expecting Freeman's put in 1 lap. I'm surprised. I thought he wouldn't be taking part in quali. Fun to see. It throws a new strategy into the mix, but he's gonna have a tough time beating that with his medium compound tires and taking the fight to the likes of the Mercedes and the McLaren. He's another great improvement from last season. I think he did a pretty good job helping Mercedes win the constructor, and now he is probably he's pretty well matched to be first driver for his team. Of course, Lone Shark not driving today, but both of them are pretty quick. I will be coming to the pits. Yep. Okay. So the softs can't go really more than 1 lap if you want to have any performance in the race. So Ninja is just exited the pit, starting his out lap. Oh, excuse me for a second. Hello? I really hope SD wasn't on a flying lap there, but oh, Russell retires. He is electing to start on hards. I hope that wasn't a disqualification of sorts or an retirement, but I think he was in the pits, so he's chosen to start on hards. That is very confident. I completely expect Ninja to beat that lap going onto the mediums. He is driving very slowly for his out lap, especially since heating up these medium tires, while it's much better than hards, isn't really too simple. Tire wear really isn't an issue if you're doing a one-stop medium to hards. I think the hards are very durable. Oh, he's getting out of the way of somebody. Oh, one. Oh, that was sneaky. Ninja and Sneaky Boy, the two most well-disguised teammates. Should they ever be part of the same team, you'll never see them coming. Yeah, that joke was terrible. Third world profit jumps up to P5 on the soft tires. That's interesting. I expect one Sneaky Boy will improve, but let's see. I'm pretty sure that that's a 134.2 is a good time on the board for third world profit. He is actually picking up the game now, so considering how well he's learning right now, 134.2 is a good time on the board. I'm surprised Russell retired. It's the hard tires. Starting on the hard tires is actually pretty annoying. You just get so much wheel spin, and you have absolutely no grip. So Ninja, if he qualifies P2, will probably get him on the start, and then the entire race will be pretty close. He's also using deployment mode. He's not using a deployment mode 4 or 5 through sector 1. I expect him to shift up to 4 right now. Let's see what he does. And he's moved up to deployment mode 4. Is he improving? That's the question. He is 3/10 up on his delta. That is already a significant improvement, and I expect massive gains through sector 2. Sector 3 is obviously a long straight, and while you can possibly gain a bit of time on the exit, you won't gain too much time on a straight regardless of which tires you're on. So the majority of the gains will have to come here. It doesn't look like his tires are too happy with him. It still looks like he is slightly colder, and if it carries on this way, he is going to get pole. He's 8.5 up on his time. Just keeps it nice and tight through this long right-hander coming onto the back stretch, and up to deployment mode 4. So all in all, pretty good lap by Ninja. It doesn't seem... Oh, and SD goes pole with a 133.0. Totally expected that. He is annoying, but a pretty good driver, so gotta put up with him nowadays. And takes the hairpin nice and well. Ninja does, and hits the inner apex, keeps it barely on the track. I really hope there wasn't invalidation. And that's a 132.6, which is a brilliant time from Ninja. I'm pretty sure Russell would beat that, but I don't think he would be, like, any mistakes would possibly make it a challenging time to beat. I think some of the top drivers are doing 131s, 131 early, so if you're within a second of a top driver, that's a pretty commendable feat. So I think he's going to be pretty happy with the time. I don't expect him to put in another time and destroy his tires. Freeman is out on... let me catch my breath. Freeman is out on mediums. Is he on a flying lap? Yes, he is. He's deployment mode 5. He hits the curb on the hairpin. And I'm pretty sure he's going to... Let's see what the time is across the... Oh god, he's made another mistake. Hopefully it doesn't invalidate his lap. But he may not improve on his soft tires, which he does not. His best lap is on soft tires, which is going to annoy him. And I don't believe this. It was... Wait, there's a little discrepancy. There's the best time on the top right is showing 134.018. But and it's a 1,000th of a second, not much. But good job, Cody's. Sparsh on an outlap after the time is done. I suggest he retires, but I think that's fine. Maybe once you get used to what running on heavy fuel feels like. That was an interesting line. Okay, he seems pissed off. SD and Ninja. SD, is SD on the flying lap? No, he's in the pits. Ninja, I think, so that puts Ninja 0 on pole. I don't think there's anybody left to beat him. The only one on track right now is Faizan coming into the final hairpin. Ninja possibly a little distracting, but gets out of the way pretty well. Faizan keeps it nice and narrow. 34 doesn't look like it's going to be an improvement at all. Was a pretty slow time compared to what his previous best was. So yeah, Ninja comes into pits, and that brings us to an end of qualifying. Sneaky boy up to P3. Wow, that was a good lap from him. 130 with 3-1. Russell is definitely not going to be happy with the starting position, considering P5, P6, and everyone below him is starting on soft tires. So expect Russell to maybe lose a couple of positions on the start, but judging by his performance in Bahrain, he's always up for a fight back. Oh god, can Ninja retire already? He's in the pits, I don't believe this. Retire the car. Right, so it's an admin 1-2 in RLI race 3 for the Chinese Grand Prix. I expect Ninja so far has been pretty good with starts this season, but now that I've said that, he's probably going to lose a position to SD. Sneaky boy will probably, live up to his name. But apparently Russell is Canadian. He keeps changing his flag, so bit of an identity crisis going on. It's okay. I guess it's not too bad. A lot of Indians move to Canada, but I don't think that's where he is right now. Your new commentator sticking to relevant topics in Formula 1. Ooh, maybe he chose Racing Point because he's now a Canadian, but I guess Stroll would be his idol. Let's see if people actually live up to the name of not reading up a little early. Yes, the admins will be over VC, trying to give people as much time to set their race strategies as possible. So hopefully people do sort of just be careful about that and be a little empathetic. And Russell has readied up. Okay, I guess everyone's got 30 seconds to start. I'm not sure whether the go-ahead was given by the admins, but either way, what's done is done. All eyes will be on the front too, because SD and Ninja are both very closely matched on this edition's game. I think Ninja was a bit quicker SD was a bit quicker in the 2018 edition, but in 2019 Ninja is definitely been the more competent one. He's been practicing a lot, so kudos to him. Definitely deserves it. And a bit of oh wow, the Renault and the Haas had a bit of a sexual moment over there, but hopefully there's no oil leak, although it would have made it a bit smoother into the rear of the Haas. Again, me covering some of the core Formula 1 topics over here. It's a very slow outlap by Ninja. It's interesting to see that people go so slow on the medium tires. I'm sure the people on the softs will want to back up as much as usual, just to make sure that they get a jump on the runners with the harder compounds. Personally, I don't like that. I like everyone starting off similar condition tires, but even things such as your tire conditions show your merit as a driver in terms of how to heat it up. I think last year Couple did a couple of donuts on the outlap in France, which was unorthodox, but I'm sure it was effective. Couple is not driving this year, unfortunately. His PC has had issues. We definitely do probably seeing a lack of maybe one or two better drivers, but overall the standard of racing has gone up quite a lot. I'm guessing the attendance is low because we had, I think, our record attendance in the last two races, so I'm guessing the attendance is a bit low today because China isn't really one of the better tracks, and on this year's edition it's a little trickier, but like I said, quality not quantity. So as long as the race up front with some of these top guys is quick, then power to them. Oh, SD with an innovative line. I guess the mud around his tires would probably heat it up a little more, or so he believes. Sneaky boy looking for a surprise result. I'm really impressed by his qualifying performance. At a 133, or getting to the 133s, or getting a 133.1 is probably something which he will be pretty happy with. A front row start may have been on the cards. He wasn't too far away from SD, but either way, he'll probably be pretty happy, and he should maintain position. But let's go for the round 3 of RLI Season 3. I believe all cars are bunched up, or not. I think Sparsh is still not joined. Faizan is on circuit, and the 5 lights have eliminated. We have one disconnection right now. Oh wait, oh, that was a very, very long hold on 4 lights. It looks like a good start from Ninja and my beautiful, and SD pulls alongside down the inside, and Ninja will be looking to go around the outside over here. Personally, I prefer a cutback line because when you stick to the inside, you tend to drift out. One Sneaky Boy does stay ahead of Rissel, but I think crucially for Rissel, he does not lose a position to Freeman on the softer tires. Battling with Freeman will probably cost him dearly, considering the pure compound of tires they are running on, because their Freeman's tires is going to drop off after a lap or 2. So Rissel does not want to lose touch with the leaders. He is going on a different strategy, so it will be interesting to see how it does pan out for him. He was very strong towards the back end of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Sure, safety car helped him a bit with the strategy, but it still was a pretty commanding drive from Rissel to pull his way back after a pretty disappointing quality performance. So SD leads in the first lap. One Sneaky Boy sticking with the leaders, going very aggressive defensively. I'm pretty sure Ninja will not be close enough to overtake on this lap. It does seem like the gap is over 0.8 of a second. Interesting to see where Leo Vassia is. He is down the back. He does have a disconnection. Let's see if I can invite him. So let me just invite him to lobby. Hopefully. Oh, and that's a spin from Faizan. That is not nice to see. He seems to have rejoined without causing any hassles. Okay, good. Leo is back. It's not nice when you got caught over a lap down. But he's going to turn 1, and he doesn't seem to have lost too much track. There seems to be a bit of desync from on the track itself. Sure, I can see him going well behind, about the first straight behind Ninja and SD between turns 6 and 5, but definitely is on track. He seems to have taken control now, so that's good. So yeah, we're good to continue. The classifications are all wrong. I'm not really sure what's happening, but apart from Leovis here, it looks like it's the right order. Let's go back to the battle at the front and see what's happening. Ninja is managed to stick with SD pretty well. I know SD is one to not give up without a fight, or even if the fight gets, he's not too shy to stick his elbows out. But it's a brilliant exit from him. He's sticking well ahead of Ninja. Sneaky Boy also within a second, so that is not going to play well for Rissel, because even though he's out of DRS, if one Sneaky Boy does stay with SD, oh, that really spammed the downshifter there. But even if one Sneaky Boy does stick with Ninja, then what's going to end up happening is Rissel is not going to get that DRS advantage to overtake them. SD's been pretty quick at picking up the game. That being said, he has struggled on his tires from time to time. I really hope that that issue doesn't persist. He is a pretty good driver on his day. I hope the microphone volumes are fine, but anyway, I guess we'll find out after the race. SD is going a little quicker. He's pulled out the gap to 1.1 seconds. Ninja will definitely want to stay within his DRS zone, so it might be worth burning a bit of fuel in the second and third sector to keep it a little close. Let me switch broadcast cam. Some of these views are actually beautiful. So one sneaky boy is actually doing pretty well in terms of sticking with Ninja, but Ninja has broken that 1 second gap. I mean, it's good in a way, but since we want to see some close racing, we do not want the Toro Rosso to fall out of touch with the McLaren just yet. But McLaren Mercedes up front, not in that order, but needed to say that. Followed by the Toro Rosso, and the Racing Point is definitely gaining really quickly on Sneaky Boy. Russell is within a second, but it's probably because of the corner exit. He did not have DRS going down the straight. Yeah, I guess it's been a pretty nose to tail first 4 laps. Bit of a corner cut there from one Sneaky Boy, but that was a brilliant camera view. SD has broken out of Ninja's DRS. This will not be playing well for the McLaren. Early days, but I'm sure Ninja is going to do well enough to pull back the gap if required. He does seem to be on a pretty low deployment zone, but that was it on 2, 3 and 4. So if you surprising to see him stay on 2 throughout the entire straight. Oh, massive gain through there. Massive gain. Oh God, it looks like SD has lagged into Ninja. That is not going to play well after the race. He does look like he's missing a left front end plate, and that's a very wide line to there. He's not going to be happy with SD's internet connectivity. The lag he'll be pretty pissed off, I'm sure, and possibly some words happening over the RLI VC. But this race has pulled more and more into SD's hands, using his net very tactically to make sure Ninja can't really fight. But as a consequence of this, one Sneaky Boy has come right back onto the tail of Ninja, and I completely expect him to possibly get Ninja down the straight. The exit would be compromised, and you can immediately see the gains one Sneaky Boy is making. So Russell's advantage of DRS has definitely been cut down. Let's see what it's like from his point of view. Oh, beautiful cockpit cam view. This doesn't look like it's going to... Oh, around the outside. That's definitely not the best way to overtake around that corner. But there is a definite overtaking chance into turn. And Ninja jumps into the pits. The front wing damage was possibly more than just a basic end plate, but if he puts on the hards, I really doubt he can make it till the end of the race. And with a compromised pit stop. But how far back is he going to fall? Because now he's going to fall into the clutches of some of the soft runners, even though they are a little further down the line, down the road. So it's a very long pit stop for Ninja 0, which will not be a very good sign. So he's down almost in last place, and that included a spun 5 Zan and Spurs running at the back of the field. He really was on the cards to get some good points for McLaren today, especially since his teammate is having quite a few desync issues with this lobby. But looks like his teammate is running sound in P7, completely stuck onto Freeman's butt, but I don't expect the overtake to be very easy, considering Freeman is within DRS of Rambo up ahead. It shows the gap is 0.6 of a second. I can't tell you how much the gap is between Freeman and Leovis, but so far so clean the race has been pretty clean. Barring a few minor spins and a few minor issues. A yellow flag, it'd be great to see where the yellow flag is. But looks like Russell has overtaken. Something must have happened over there. I really hope there was no damage, but looks like they both have their front end plates. Yeah, so far it looks clean. Russell opting for the outside, and this is a very tricky zone. Sneaky Boy tucks in, and he was a full car length ahead. The power of DRS this year is pretty amazing. I don't think in the 2018 edition of the game, even with DRS, you could open a full car length on a car down the main stretch in China. But one Sneaky Boy in slipstream, he's not looking for the overtake. He is in deployment mode 1. So he sticks right up onto Russell's diffuser, and hopefully he can get that position back, because he wouldn't want Russell to run away from him. But you can immediately see the difference in pace through sector 2. It's about 0.4 of a second. Of course, dirty air may be a bit of a factor, but Russell going very slowly, and it's a virtual safety car. Okay, I nearly missed that. This will probably help a couple of the people on soft tires pit. And hold on, it's because of a DNF Ferrari, so that is definitely not something that you want to see. Love to see where he went off. Sparsh still is not racing today. Let me hop on board with SD, see if the leader can pick up where the spun. Freeman picks up a drive-through, which, or speeding under the safety car, sorry, 5-second stop go, but I don't think that's too major at this point. It probably will affect him at the fag end of the race. He usually records his races, so if it is invalid, then he can get it removed. But right now it looks like there's a bug which shows Leo Vassia is leading by over a minute and a half, but looks like the VSC is green, and Russell has used this to his advantage to break out of DRS of one sneaky boy, which was pretty sneaky of him. Pretty good management, I guess. But now I expect from lap 8 or 9, I expect the gap to SD to fall pretty significantly. See, let's hop on board with Russell for this lap and see whether he's able to close the gap. But Sneaky Boy actually is not being too shabby in terms of staying with Russell. There's one thing beating Russell in quali, but there's another task sticking with him in race pace. That shows an improvement in consistency from some of our last year's midfield drivers, and yeah, that possibly throws a few new variables into the equation. Ninja will be livid that he didn't stay out an extra few laps to pit under the VSC, but there's no way he could have known. In my experience, China has been pretty notorious for giving giving safety cars in VSCs more than other tracks. I mean, for tracks like Australia, I don't think I've ever seen safety car in a race, and I think in OR season 3 there was a huge pileup which included about 10 cars on lap 1. So yeah, I mean, incidents do happen, but considering there wasn't a safety car for that, I was pretty surprised. Half the field had to pit, including me, but Ninja seems to be settled in. He's right now running 28 seconds behind the lead group, which we'll probably see him break into over the course of the next few laps. 27 seconds seems a bit excessive considering it was one pit stop, but then he did have to spend time overtaking some of the other cars. Wouldn't have been too much of an issue because most of them did pit under the safety car. But let's just check the stops, and apart from the front three, all of them have pitted. And let's check Leo Vassia for a second, see what he's doing. He's still on the medium tires, so I believe that he qualified on the medium tires, so he is going strong in P. I really can't tell you what position he's in. I wonder if Race Director has it. Race Director does not really tell you where he is. He's going through Sector 1, Lap 9 now. Maybe if I find where the other competitors were. Freeman. Yeah, okay. So it looks like Leo Vassia is running strong in P5. So it's a McLaren P4 and 5 at the moment. I know the classification is showing him in P1, but I can confirm that it is a bug. So it is a bug at this point of time. But Freeman tucked right up onto the back of Rambo. This battle has been going on for the entirety of the race. Freeman has opted to go for another set of softs, which is pretty interesting. And look at the grip the soft tires do have, which is pretty amazing, to be honest. Oh god, man, don't go for the overtake here. He's chosen to actually go for the overtake before the main straight, which is a pretty optimistic move to make. I'm gonna switch to Rambo to see whether he'll probably get him back on the straight, even though Freeman's exit has put him about 0.4 of a second up the road. Like I said, DRS is pretty powerful here. Slipstream plus DRS, overtake deployment, and he is closing in on Freeman pretty significantly. A bit of a squeeze. He hasn't really left Freeman much space over there. Freeman trying the cutback, and it has almost worked, but Rambo, he has to pit. Was the damage? Was the damage? So Freeman is pitting again right at this point, and it looks like the one stop, the strategy is pretty compromised. I think he can make it to the end on hards, but the jury's still out on that. I'm really not sure how long the hard compound tires can go. Meanwhile, my beautiful girlfriend is here to watch the boys in action, and let's see what's. So anyway, let's see whether they can drive to impress. So anyway, the Renault running strong in P7, or not strong, but he's opted to pit onto the medium. So I think he may be doing a soft to mediums to hards, softs to mediums to mediums. You can definitely do that, but Freeman probably got damage as a result of the squeeze by Rambo. There was definitely not one car length width on the left of him, which is as I think which the FI regulations state. So Ninja is slowly closing the gap in on one sneaky boy. Rissel has opened up the gap from him, but is not really cutting into SD's lead as much as I originally would have thought. I don't expect Rissel to be pushing too much right now. He's probably going to drop back a bit once SD does end up pitting. I think the pit window is safe to Ninja, but I don't think Ninja has an option, is in race contention anymore. Unfortunate with that incident with SD's netcode, but shame deprived of us a pretty good race. But Ninja is giving us a fight back. He's cut down 1.5 seconds in the past about 3 or 4 laps, and I do completely expect Sneaky Boy and Ninja to have a battle towards the end of the race. And Rissel has spun, and he's into the wall. He is into the wall, and this completely changes the dynamics of the race. And this is a very, very tricky corner. I did not expect a mistake from Rissel. You make the most minor mistake on this track, and it completely fucks you up. That corner is pure torture, and I recently had a league race in the wets, and I nearly spun out of that corner as well. I think. And this really puts the race into SD's hands. I do not expect that Rissel would be able to fight back, and of course he does choose to pit. It's the complete front right end plate, and into the pit. Luckily he avoids a corner cut, but that is definitely a shame to see another battle being compromised. I just hope the stream is working completely fine. And Hitesh has joined us on the stream, but that was a while ago. I doubt he's still there. How would you guys feel about some background music for next season's race? For the next race. And hold on, Leo Vissier is in the wall, and I don't think he's going to be able to recover this. Which part of the track is this in? This is also in the last sector. No, it's in sector 2. He has lost it in sector 2, and he's probably has massive wing damage. He was running so strong down in P5. And definitely, and Rissel is also going slowly. What is happened to Rissel's race? Was there an incident with Rissel himself? Did Rissel slow down to let Leo Vissier back through, and Rissel chooses to go around the outside? Now this is going to give him DRS. I completely missed that incident. What was going on? Rissel off again. Does Rissel have more front wing damage? What is happening to the Canadian in the Indian League? It's definitely, this is not going as scripted. He has stopped and come out 17.5 seconds behind Ninja. I'm not sure what happened. I probably should have followed that, but it's definitely not going as per design for Rissel. He's going very slowly. And that was a dangerous pit entry for Leo Vissier. I don't think that was, and he's retired from the session. Definitely a sad race for him with the disconnection first and the desync followed by the pretty unfortunate crash. I definitely will be looking into what happened after the race. But Russell is carrying on. He's going slowly yet again. What is happening with Russell? Has his tires overheated? He's in deployment mode 0. He's not even pushing right now. He's dropped 3 seconds in that last lap. He is not pushing at all right now. It's really, I really want to know what's happened to him. This is, the entire race is turned on its heels. And right now we have no active battles on track. Rambo is closing in on 5zan. Let's hop on board that battle. And the Red Bull versus Renault, a Beatable versus Honor. Let's see which one will actually come out on top. 5zan, our man with braking assist, doesn't seem to be going too fast. Oh wait, no wonder, there's a safety car. What is wrong with me? I completely missed that. SD and Sneaky Boy have pitted, but this works really well in the hands of Rissel and Ninja Zero. I completely missed the safety car, so really sorry for that. And I don't believe I didn't catch that. So this will bunch the pack up and will work pretty well for Ninja Zero. Let's see who all pit. SD and Sneaky Boy have pit onto the hard compound tires as expected. Ninja Zero will probably pit onto the mediums if he's got brains, but let's see what his pit crew does. I really hope he pits onto mediums, because by the time the safety car comes in, I assume it'll be on lap 16. But no, he's gone for the hards. This is definitely a surprise decision. These kind of things do happen at the start of the race, start of a game, where you're not really sure how long tires can go on certain tracks. So strategies are a bit of a blind spot. Rissel is also going on to hard, so interesting choice here from the drivers. Considering that the leaders are running pretty strong on the hard tires, I do not think that this was the right option. Ninja could have actually won this race pretty easily. He's currently the fastest man on the track. Now, whether that was on the fresh hard tires or in the first stint is yet to see. Let me actually check that. Which lap was his fastest lap in? Maybe he'll give us a good insight on whether his hard tires are reacting well. It was on lap 9. So he has picked up 2 warnings, but his fastest lap was on the hard tires. So Ninja's car reacting pretty well to that. I think he's been pretty solid with setups. I have no sign of the safety car. Where is ST? Let's take a look at him. And okay, ST has backed up onto the safety car, but the rest of the drivers do have a long way to go. Some of them are in sector 1. So, oops, wrong car. Freeman has has almost half a lap or more than half a lap behind. But this has given us a race again, boys. Right back into the top 4 within a second of each other into the final stint. I really hope SD's connection has stabilized. I'm pretty sure Ninja will take him out or retire from the session if there is more front wing damage because of netcode. But more importantly, this has removed Rissel's strategic advantage. It's put the top 4 on the exact same tires of the exact same age. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see if one of them do come in to put the mediums on, just for the sheer sort of advantage you would get at the safety car restart. I think I drifted the entire turn 1 earlier in the game, where a safety car came out in China, and after the safety car restart I had absolutely no grip, so the back end just refused to stick. So on these hard tires it's pretty tricky to get these up to temperature. So Rissel and Ninja have joined the lead pair for the restart, but I don't believe the safety car is going to come in this lap. The game does have a tendency to wait for the entire group to bunch up. What is the interval between Freeman, 5zan and Rambo are closing in? So I really do hope it is by the end of this lap. 5zan has arrived. Freeman and Rambo's still closing in. Freeman may catch up by the end of this lap, but Leovasia is back. Let me just quickly invite him. Looks like he's into hentai, but I'll probably have a discussion with him about this afterwards. So Freeman has closed in. Oh, Leovasia has DNF. I just thought it was a disconnection. Where is Rambo? Rambo is still a ways behind. No news on the safety car yet. It looks like it is staying out. SD is not bunching up the back, so I completely assume that the safety car is staying out right now. So that's another lap right behind the safety car, and that's pretty disappointing to see. So what do you think of the race? Top 4 leaders, all on fresh hard compound tires, going to the end. Pretty exciting, right? I have informed our race leader in the Mercedes that the camera will be on him, and there's a bit of a commentator's curse in the game. So while the camera is on you, you're about 90% more likely to make mistakes. Every single mistake I have made in league races has been because the camera has been on my car. Safety car has a tendency to go very, very slowly in this game. I think that's something Codemasters may need to address. It could be linked to the AI level that you define for the lobby. So if you maybe select a slightly better AI level of about a 70 or an 80, you may actually see better performance. But for a league where we have a good diversity in drivers, having a very high AI driving level may not actually work out too well. I do believe the safety car will go in this lap. I'm surprised to see SD not heating his tires up enough, but it's very difficult to do that behind such a slow moving safety car. But looks like every single driver is on the hard tires, so there is no race control has confirmed safety car is coming in this lap. Looks like the safety car is coming in this lap, and SD has begun bunching up the pack. Now I really hope he doesn't that the drivers are slightly more cautious about closing in on the back of the Mercedes. And when I say the Mercedes, I mean SD and not the safety car. Although the safety car is probably a slightly better driver. SD will probably not be too happy, but I informed him I'm going to be a little bit of a bitch. But yeah, it looks like almost every single constructor but Ferrari is represented in this race. Williams unfortunately had a DNF, but barring, we have one of each constructor, and it looks like SD has accelerated. It looks like a pretty good start. One Sneaky Boy isn't really challenging. Russell has had a pretty poor getaway. Ninja's had a pretty good getaway, a pretty shitty getaway, but Russell has stuck onto the back. There is an incident with 5zan again, I believe. What is up with this man? And he has tried to pit and by extension lost his front wing, so he will not be happy, and he's got picked up penalty for speeding in the pit lane. This race is just going from bad to worse for him. He was given a lifeline, but that hasn't really worked out for him. He did have I can confirm he did have completely red front wing damage. Sneaky Boy going for a move on SD, or is he? But moving to within 2/10. Ninja looks like he's had some trouble heating up his tires. But the biggest loser of this pack is right now Freeman. He's completely lost touch with the leaders, which I wasn't expecting to see. It may have something to do with 5zan's incident. I really hope Freeman didn't pick up more damage. Let's hop on board with him. Looks like he's got all his front plates. Beautiful helicopter shot over here. The Haas, the Rich Energy Haas, does look very good with the black and gold in the game. But Freeman looking like he's going to be a bit lonely right now. Rambo himself has dropped off Freeman's back, so it definitely was. I would like to see what happened with the incident with 5zan. I'll hop back to the front. Ninja is closing in on the back of one Sneaky Boy, but at the same time Russell is closing into the back of him, so Down the inside, and that is definitely going to be some front wing damage. That's a 3-second penalty, but doesn't look like there's any major damage. I hope Ninjas hasn't picked up, and I hope we can still continue racing to the standard. ST is still desyncing, but has set the fastest lap. Ninja is staying ahead for now. Pretty late dive bomb. He wasn't alongside, but looked legal. I don't think one Sneaky Boy expected it. Russell tried to sneak up the inside, but had to back out of the move and take a slightly creative line. This battle is heating up, guys. So Ninja once again on the back of one Sneaky Boy. Is he going to go for the inside, or is he going to wait for the main straight? And that's a huge dive bomb, but he has stuck the apex. He's left room, and that's a pretty successful move all in all. It's probably a bit of payback for one Sneaky Boy turning in on him. But now we have a battle with R2 admins. Ninja 0 versus RLI vertical line the hyphen real hyphen SD. So it's a miracle Steam didn't really truncate the number of characters he can use, but it's okay. So SD is now going to take off in pursuit of the real SD, but I believe he does have penalties. I do not believe SD has any warnings. Wow, that's a brilliantly clean race. He has 2 warnings and has picked up a direct 3-second penalty. So if that penalty was a direct penalty, I assume it can be removed. But if he picks up another warning, he is probably going to get another direct 3 seconds. So it's interesting to see what happens. SD is actually pulling away from Ninja. This is not what I expected. Does Ninja have front wing damage? That's something I'm pretty curious about. Sneaky Boy, he's not pulling away from Sneaky Boy at all. I guess, let's see what happens to turn 1. Doesn't look like he has any front wing damage. Can never be too certain. In any event, it's definitely not too major. He's got all his end plates, all his whatever those are called, I'm forgetting. Ooh, loss of the back end. Is he? I'll be surprised if he's not using traction control here. It's usually, I think he runs medium traction control with, I think, an ABS, with ABS on. But as a result of this, SD is pulling away from the back, and I think the one man of the trailing 3, since Ninja is not really in full throttle, is Rissel. He's the big loser from this entire ordeal. That spin, I think, cost him dearly. He may have been ahead of Ninja or not. He picks up a 3-second time penalty to top it all. So his afternoon is going from bad to worst. So even though he has sunny skies, it's a bit of a dimmer on his afternoon. And my girlfriend is watching No Strings Attached, which definitely doesn't bode too well for me. Gotta probably keep a good track on her over the next few months. And Rissel has spun. I completely missed that. Again, while talking about very relevant Formula 1 things, while SD gets a fastest lap, Rissel has dropped behind Freeman. But the benefit of this is we get to see the outright pace of Rissel. It definitely was something to do with one Sneaky Boy, I believe. But now we can see Rissel's outright pace, see whether he can maybe pump in a fastest lap while closing the gap on Freeman. And then maybe take off again to getting on to the back of the leaders. Freeman has made a mistake. I don't believe he's going to fight too hard to keep Rissel behind, but nobody pulls punches in this league. He takes a slightly inside line, a narrow line. Surprising there, but the gap up front is opening up. I really hope Ninja can close that gap to give us a nice battle towards the tail end of this race. Freeman is definitely looking like he has some front wing damage. That Haas is not turning in at all. Could also be a setup issue, but definitely not looking like a very optimal drive from Freeman at this point. This is going to be very cautious. One of the most sensible drivers in the league. He will wait for the main straight to overtake Freeman. He has been forced to lift because Freeman again has a huge amount of oversteer. I doubt Freeman's going to fight this. No, but yes, he's in deployment mode 4. But he does not have enough ERS, and I do not think Rissel even needs to go up to Rich Mixture to fight the move. moves back to the inside a little bit, but leaves sufficient room on the outside. Probably Rambo can learn a thing or two from that. Okay, that was mean, but whatever. I thought Rambo was supposed to be in the Red Bull. Why? Oh yeah, he is them on board with the wrong car here. You want McDonald's? You want McDonald's? It's very, very unhealthy. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind fries. Okay. I'll give me like 8 laps. That's gonna be about 15 minutes. We'll order. Okay. Great. Me sorting out my dinner plans for the day. Priorities, bitches. So Russell has cleared Freeman successfully, like we caught on camera for a change, and Ninja has stabilized the gap to SD, and SD will be under pressure here because I believe he does not use any assists, and these hard tires aren't, while they're durable, they do not have the most grip. So SD will probably be keeping the gap a little stable, but one mistake and Ninja and him will be nose to tail. And as we are all aware, it's almost impossible to break out of DRS on some tracks. I remember, I think in AOC, I was nose to tail with combined YouTuber down this track, and I was pulling out 9/10 or 8/10 in sector 1 and 2, but the entire hard work would be gone to shit down the main straight. So, of course, the race ended in a complete DNF for me. Not DNF, I had a massive disconnection and didn't really get, and I lost the lead of the race, but all said and done, Revo was the fastest man on the day. Probably got lucky with him spinning in the first place. SD is responded to Ninja's pace. He is not gonna let Ninja close up. It does seem like the gap is wavering between 2.3 to 2.5 of a second. One Sneaky Boy on for a strong podium. I do hope Bristol does not have any damage. Yellow in sector 1 and Bristol into the wall yet again. That is not gonna be. That was in the tricky traction zone, and I do not believe Bristol will continue from here. He is going to taking a pretty interesting line through there, but I completely expect Russell to go for fastest lap if he continues. His tires look extremely overheated. And that's another spin from Russell. I probably should move away from his screen, even though it's a little. I do want to see what happens. I'm a bit sadistic. But Daddy Boy Stroll is not making too many. But Daddy's Boy Stroll is making too many mistakes this race. China is a very tricky circuit, but I am pretty sure Russell will be kicking himself given the lifeline that the safety car had given him. And he spins again. Okay, I'm going to move away from him. Otherwise, he will probably not race again in RLI for a while. He has now dropped behind Rambo, and I completely expect him to probably spit onto the soft tires at the fag end of the race and pump in a fastest lap for the extra point. Doesn't cover up the extra 4 positions he's lost, but it's a band-aid on an afternoon riddled with problems. So Ninja Zero slowly chipping in at that gap to SD. It's now down to 2.2 seconds, but he would need to be catching SD at a little better, faster rate than that if he wants to have a chance to win the race. But one mistake from either of the drivers could set the race result in stone. One Sneaky Boy is not out of it yet. He has dropped to out of 3 seconds from Ninja, so even if Ninja does get that penalty, Ninja Zero will still retain the position. I'm more interested to see whether he's able to pull in the gap on Real SD, because if he moves within DRS, we know it's not going to be a fight. We know that you can overtake easily. But Russell has left the session. I did expect it. Just hold on. Hello? Yeah, what's up? You're going to get a few beers? If you have Bex, get me 3. Yeah. Yeah. No, just remind him. Sorry about that. I got a beer. My friend's going on a beer run, so priorities. So Ninja Zero does stabilize. Sorry, SD does stabilize the gap to Ninja, but it looks like Ninja is very strong through sector 2, and he's gaining about a tenth or two through that sector, but through sector 1 SD is probably running a bit of lower downforce. I'm guessing traditionally, from what I've seen from the 2018 game, he managed to run pretty low downforce with high ballast, and that probably compromised his pace a bit, but then made him pretty abominable in the corners. So we're coming down to the last 5 laps, and SD has opened that gap up to 2.5 seconds in sector 3. I think he's definitely running a very, very low downforce setup. That probably something like 3.5 or 3.6. Ninja, I know, prefers more grip. He doesn't usually go for an understeery setup, but he's probably running something like a 7 or 8 rear wing. Can't confirm that, of course, until after the race. But it's a shame to see Russell go. He definitely was a favorite for today's run. He probably was kicking himself for not putting in a qualifying lap on the medium tires. Medium TC does give you a bit of extra understeer through the corners, so the car does seem less responsive. You can see that through sector 2, but this, in spite of that, SD is pulling out now. He seems to have gotten the edge on Ninja, but we can never say for certain until the fat lady sings. Sneaky Boy barely keeping in view of these cars and has dropped outside the 4-second mark. Slight mistake from Ninja Zero there, coming into the last long right-hander, but I doubt that's going to cost him too much time. Has dropped a tenth more behind SD, but SD has had a very, very strong race, and Mercedes are going to take some pretty strong points away. But with Russell leaving, I really am interested to see who is in line to pick up the fastest lap of the race. Let's take a look at that. It looks like SD is going to pick up 26 points today, which is a very, very strong drive from the I was going to say Indian, but then that's not really relevant in this league, is it? Right. It's not really going to be too much of battle anymore. 3 laps, 3 seconds, and it does look like the race is done and dusted, unless Ninja puts in a few blasting laps, and that is, of course, in case SD does pick up a few penalties. But so far, I think SD has driven a very solid race. Driver of the day for me. No warnings, no incidents. And let's take a look at SD's warning count. And he still has kept a very commanding, clean race. So it looks like the 3-second penalty for Ninja was because of multiple warnings, and he's picked up another one after that. So the 3 seconds will definitely not be removed. That being said, he is closing in on SD, so while we may have a battle on track, there is going to be no contest as for who today's winner has been, and purely on merit. It's interesting to see SD having such strong pace. And yeah, let's put the camera on him. Maybe a commentator's curse will force him to make a few errors. But he has assured me that he is a full-blown diva and loves the attention. It's a disgusting looking silver, isn't it? I doubt you'd expect any more from the Maranello baby, but either way, coming to the end of the race, and things have settled down. We had a pretty interesting Do I see a few drops of rain? Is there rain on the circuit? It looks like it is starting to rain right now. I don't think it's going to affect tire wear too much. I do not or sort of grip too much, but this has put a spanner in the works for some of the no TC drivers. There isn't time to come in and pit onto intermediates, but it will take the track a few laps to reach intermediate conditions anyway. But definitely you can see SD being a little conservative, and the McLaren of Ninja has caught up half a second through sector 1 alone. This definitely has made things interesting. SD had a good exit, of course, but that does not take away from the gains that Ninja has made. Sneaky Boy, I'm not sure if he made a mistake, but he definitely is dropped off the leaders quite significantly. Ninja onto the main straight, and SD's low downforce will make overtaking very, very difficult, especially if DRS is disabled by race control in the last 1 or 2 laps. The rain doesn't look like it's falling too hard. If it continues for about 4 or 5 laps, I can imagine. Let's increase my weather effects and see what's up. Not controls, graphics. Let's put it on high, see what's up. Definitely can't see the drops of rain a bit clearer now. But SD has pulled out, has had a brilliant third sector, and I think this puts the race win beyond Ninja's control. But just look at the amount of grip Ninja has through sector 1, and we have an incident in sector 3. I think it's Rambo, and Rambo has kept his front wing, but a massive spin. He was not ahead of Freeman. He was not in contention for P4, but this has brought him in view of 5-Zan, and let's see if our braking assist boy is... Sneaky Boy pits onto intermediates. This is an interesting choice from him. I don't think he's going to get too much, and he runs wide, but cold intermediates are also not always the best choice. DRS is not disabled by... oh my god, that was definitely going to be reviewed by the stewards in terms of Rambo's movement. Not much he could have done there, but 5-Zan did well to avoid the spinning Red Bull. Rambo has chosen to pit, and I think he's reacted to 5-Zan, thinking he can take him on track. Interesting to see how much Sneaky Boy will close in on the 2 leaders. It's only 2 laps to go, and he is 7 seconds behind Ninja, who is completely fallen off the back of SD. But the track has deteriorated quite a bit. You can see the spray from the tires far clearer now. And that's a 1.5 seconds through sector 1 alone. I expect a much more of a situation for the leaders in the last lap, but I doubt that's going to be too much of... That's not going to be 37 seconds worth or 30 seconds worth of a drop finally. You need a major incident. SD has pitted. Our leader has come in. Now what is Ninja Seer going to do? And he has come in as well, so the track is evidently undrivable. If there is any delay in the pit stops, and oh thank god SD gets out without being held at all. But I want to see how close Sneaky Boy comes into... He's coming around the final corner now. SD I think is definitely safe from him, but he's on the way to his pit exit now. It's been a pretty decent stop from the McLaren team. He's still probably going to be around 4 or 5 seconds off Ninja Zero if my calculations are correct. Looks like it's more than that. Oh, it's 6.5 seconds. Now, provided none of the leaders make mistakes, it does seem like the race is in the bag for SD. And the podium is going to be one Sneaky Boy, Ninja, and the rest. But Freeman is the one who's chosen to stay out on the medium tires or hard tires, and he too pits now. Looks like the gap to Rambo is enough to maintain position. But let's move to the battle between 5-Zan and Rambo right now. Rambo does seem to have jumped 5-Zan. I'm not sure where the jump was, but maybe 5-Zan had some front wing damage in the pit stops. Completely missed that. Maybe go back into the stream and watch that again to see what exactly happened. But Rambo goes in deep. Braking under ABS this year has been nerfed majorly. So yeah, my calculations were correct. One Sneaky Boy is within about 5 seconds of Ninja Zero. But gotta give it to ST today, despite his excessive whining. He has driven a very, very good race today. He's probably going to come up with a few excuses on what he could have done better, but that just shows a top quality driver who's always looking to improve. It's probably the only nice thing I'm going to say about him today, but considering he's from Mercedes, he should not expect any more than that. So SD does come around the final bend, and it looks like the Mercedes has driven a very, very strong race. No warnings, fastest lap of the race, and comes across in P1. He completely deserves this race win. No weave from him, it does seem, and Ninja does drop out of, but it does. And one Sneaky Boy takes it on penalties. I don't believe this. One Sneaky Boy does take Ninja Zero on penalties. So that's a brilliant result for the Toro Rosso. I do not expect he came into this race expecting a P2, but with the issues with Rissel and Ninja, I think that this was a brilliant, brilliant drive from the Toro Rosso boy. He's going to be very, very happy. Um, let me just sort out the commentator roles for them to access it. Just give me a second. Um, so anyway, looks like Rambo and Faizan are going to come back in order. Freeman did well, a good P4 finish to them. Of course, only 6 drivers have completed the race, which is not the best sign, but Rambo almost loses it. He nearly lost a very commanding drive. I think that, and that brings us to the end of the Grand Prix. I think, let me just give the commentator role to the boys on the podium, and we'll have them join the VC for the interviews if you stay. And that's an all India podium, surprise, surprise. The disgusting Mercedes has kept P1, but Ayrton Senna is evidently not the greatest driver, not a greater driver than Real SD. Just bear with me for a quick second. Some harsh words between Faizan and so all in all, pretty interesting race from a viewership point of view. Yes, we had some gaps in but I'm just gonna wait for the boys to join the commentators. Then looks like Sneaky Boy is here.
Hello.
Hello, Sneaky Boy. Congratulations on the number 2 position. Pretty commanding drive from you. For you, I know you got a bit lucky with Ninja's penalties, but we are going to wait for SD and for race winner and our other admin. Just give it a second. Let me know once SD and Ninja are in the VC. Sneaky Boy, are they in?
Why I said that? Because it was just start of the race and then you have to set for 28 laps and you obviously want to race, right? So
Manlo,
SD, 1 Sneaky Boy and Ninja 0. Where's Ninja?
my bad.
playing after
What's up?
Congratulations on the win, Fat Boy. Well done. With okay.
What's going on?
Any idea why
What's going on?
any idea why we are being kicked out of this?
I think Ninja just left.
Yeah, why?
Nobody's saying anything here.
Yeah, no, I'm waiting for Ninja. Waiting for him for the interviews. Where is Ninja? Why is he offline? He's probably not.
We had such a good fight for P2, 3, 4. Like, I lagged into Risu. I think I deserve penalty for that. Even though it was,
No,
I lagged into him, but I feel really bad for him.
that's fine. Like it
I
happens.
don't know how I had that
Yeah,
lag spike and that frame drop at the same time.
right. So while we wait on Ninja, one sneaky boy, I'll get to you.
And we can't. If you're
S.
speaking something, we can't hear you.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So while we wait on Ninja to come in, I'm pretty. There was a pretty interesting race from a commentator point of view. SD, talk me through it. I think you did have a lag spike or a bit of lag, which cost
Yeah.
Ninja of his front wing. It looked like that
It's not bit. It was a lot, I guess.
It's fine, but either way, I think you had more pace than him. Even the last stint showed that. Or was it supposed to be dry throughout, or did the game tell you there's going to be?
Yes, it was supposed to be right road, but then lap 20, no, lap 18 it said rain in 10 minutes.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then last lap it was not ready. It was time for slick, wets and it does.
Right. Right. So I think Russell had a howler of a race. He would have not been too happy with that, with the number of spins he had. But I'm pretty sure that's who your eyes were on at the start of the race. Or were you also looking very intently at Ninja Zero?
Dude, I literally understeered on the turn one. I thought I'd hit him, but then kind of regained control of the car.
Yeah, that was a great
We
start.
were-
That was a great start.
Yeah.
That was a great start to the race from your end. I think you completely deserved the race win from start to finish. It's the only compliment I paid you in the entire race stream.
Oh, I won because you didn't come.
I was on your. I was on. I put the POV onto your car, hoping that the commentator's curse would affect you, making the race a little more interesting. But you were just too good for that today. So good, well done. Um,
You.
on to you, one sneaky boy. I think like at the start of this weekend, you probably had no idea that you would be in P2 today. How do you feel? First podium?
Yeah, first podium. I could have gotten pole, to be honest. I had the incident with Sparsh. I was
Yeah.
5 tenths up on my lap, and then like Sparsh actually had disconnected, so his T-seat car I just went into it.
Oh, that was it.
He was going really slowly.
Yeah, Sparsh did have net problems. I think we had quite a few people disconnected. In fact, Leo Overseer was showing as P1 for me for a majority of the first
Yes,
stint.
yes, same.
So he was completely desynced from the entire lobby, but
Mm,
it was a good race. I think like
yeah.
unfortunately only 6 drivers finished, but quality over quantity, I always say. It looks like Ninja Zero does have some um,
Foul.
power issues, so
Technical
technical
problems.
issues. So he's had an engine failure, but luckily that's after the final checkered flag. So good job, guys, and
Thank you.
see,
Thanks.
see you next weekend. Bye bye.
Yeah, bye bye.